I'm Karen Blotnicki. I'm a professor here, and we have some alum on the panel that actually taught. I was a mere child, you understand. I was really young when I taught. Okay. Just a baby. Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to start here, actually, with Michael Weir, and I'm going to ask the panelists to introduce themselves and tell us about the business they work for.
Okay, thanks, Karen. My name is Mike Weir, and I represent Fundy Textile and Design. It's a Nova Scotia-based company in Truro, Nova Scotia. We've been in the business for 35 years, and we promote your brand. So we're in the promotional products industry. So anything that you actually have on right now is a branded piece, and that's what we do. We're based in Truro.
My name is Nadia McDonald. I'm actually the alumni. I'm with Mary Kay Cosmetics. It's a direct sales company. 56 years in America and 44 in Canada. I actually sat in the back row of this auditorium and did pass and did graduate and doing okay. So if you're sitting in the back row, you'll be just fine. My company sells skincare and cosmetics, but basically what I do where I am in my position now is I coach and mentor women to build their self-esteem and self-confidence, grow a business, teach them how to manage money, basically teach them how to be leaders. So that's what I enjoy the most about what I do.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bernard Miles, and I'm here representing CIBC, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. I run a multifamily office for CIBC here in Halifax. Our business is looking after all things financial for families that are much too busy doing other things, typically making more money. So I say to folks, if it has a dollar sign even tangentially associated with it, that's our business. And thank you for the invitation to talk to you today.
Hi there. I do not work for LinkedIn. My team today went as a social network, so this was my t-shirt that I was given this morning to wear. I follow orders. So my name is Lindsay Cross. I'm also a very proud Mount alum. I graduated in 2015 from the master's program in public relations. I currently work as the Director of Marketing and Corporate Strategy with CUA. You might have seen some of our advertisements or radio commercials. We are a full-service banking option. So anything you can do at a bank, you can do with us. But we're not a bank. We are a credit union, provincially regulated here in the province. So doing your banking with CUA means that you're a customer owner, and you're having a direct impact on your own financial health as well as your community. And so I'm excited to speak to you today a little bit about my journey, starting in communications, moving over to marketing, and excited to also hear from my fellow panelists. So thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Punch, Director of Marketing and Sales with the Discovery Center, also a Mount grad, BPR program. I'm not going to say what year. Also happy to be here with the rest of the panelists. The Discovery Center has a 30-plus year history here in Halifax, recently opening a brand new facility on the Halifax waterfront in 2017. So we've hit restart, so now we're 3 years old. And we are a science center, a fun place for families and grown-ups to play and learn and be engaged in science.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to start with Jennifer again and work our way back towards me. And can you tell us a little bit about your position for Discovery Center and what it is you do typically in the run of a day?
Sure. So my title is Director of Marketing and Sales. I do have a habit of just poking my nose into all kinds of places. So, and when you're in marketing, you can do that because everything affects your brand, affects how audiences see you. So directly, I manage our marketing and communications efforts, and what comes with that is a few positions that I manage, a graphic design position, a digital marketing coordinator, a manager of marketing communications, and together we we deliver the brand of the Discovery Center. We manage all of our ad campaigns, all of our media relations and communications efforts. And then, as part of the senior leadership team, I also, like I said, poke my nose into all kinds of places, like operations, like visitor experience, like our exhibits and what our customer offering is going to be, even HR and accounting at times. So it's really kind of run the full gamut.
I think the question was, what do you like about your work?
Well,
Or-
just
yeah.
what do you do? How would you describe your position? Yeah.
So if you think about people who perhaps graduate from university and after a couple years, they're feeling pretty good financially and they think, I really want to become a homeowner. They start looking. We live in a world now where people go online to conduct research in advance. Where can you get a mortgage? Most Canadians, most consumers would say, I have to go to a bank to get a mortgage. But we also do mortgages. And so I want people to know that we can help them with the things that they're looking for. And the biggest message I want to leave you with today is marketing is not about a push, it's about a pull. And so we have this opportunity to engage with people and help them, to connect them with products and services that will help them get ahead. So part of my role is thinking about what message will resonate with the right people at the right time. That's why my role is marketing, communications, corporate social responsibility, and business and partnership development. So I don't do any banking, but I do everything else. And that's because everything we do is about trying to connect with those right people. Oh, that's everything from ad campaigns, as was touched upon, to digital web content, social media, programming in the community, financial literacy, and also about building partnerships in the community with people who we know we can help, but they're not yet thinking about us when they're making those really important financial decisions. It's probably a good overview of what I do every day.
Okay, my position is a little different than others on the board because I'm inside a big organization, and some of you may end up working for rather large organizations. So I'm more not entrepreneurial, but intrapreneurial. So I run, as I said, a multifamily office. I'm responsible for the day-to-day activity that supports our client families. But I'm also responsible for bringing in new business. And so that's where the marketing and sales bit comes in, and I think that's why I've been asked to speak here today. So really, every activity we do or you do can be thought of as a marketing activity, because you never know when something you've done is going to bring in new business. And let's be honest about it, folks. It's about bringing in new business. We're not doing this to be good corporate citizens or to have the coolest ad on the Super Bowl. We're doing this to bring in business. So perhaps a couple of examples. I find telling stories is the best way to get a point across. So I'm a bit of a storyteller. So I'm going to tell you one or two stories about what I do to give you an idea of how it involves marketing. So I had a client that I inherited from another advisor who was retiring. And to say that she was crotchety is being very polite. She was the grumpiest old SOB that I had ever met and wouldn't return my calls, just was not a really pleasant person to be around. And for 2 years, I tried to build a relationship with this woman. And after 2 years, I get a phone call from her out of the blue, and she says, I need $60,000. Oh, okay then. Would you like us to send that to your bank, or would you like a check? Well, aren't you going to ask me why I want $60,000? And like, she's grumpy. She's aggravated about asking for $60,000. Well, it's your money. You can have it. You want it. It's your money. Well, I have to buy a car. I go, great. I love cars. What are you buying? And well, I don't know. I hate buying cars. They take advantage of me. I'm a little old woman and they take advantage of me. I go, oh, well, could I help you? So you have to always be looking for the opportunity. So here I saw an opportunity with this crotchety old lady to sort of build a way for us to develop a rapport. And I love cars. So We had a conversation about what she was driving, what she wanted, and to abbreviate this story very quickly, we ended up buying a Subaru. Now, she shows up at her bridge club in her brand new Subaru, and there's 3 other ladies there. They're saying, "Oh, you got a new car." And she said, "Well, I didn't get it, Bernard got it." Well, who's Bernard? Well, Bernard's the guy that looks after my money. I have 3 new clients because I bought a car for an existing client. So you never know where your path is going to take you, and always be looking for the opportunity. One last story about looking for opportunity. Shut me down, because I never say in 3 words what I can say in 30. Many years ago, I was working with an elementary school class doing junior achievement. And I had the class on a day when the regular teacher was not there. So I believe the politically correct term is they were yard apes. These children were just they were horrible little human beings. And so I was trying, I'm not a yeller, I'm not a shouter, I have no time for that foolishness. So whenever I came to the classroom, I always hung my jacket over on the door, and then I'd start the presentation. And they're just being crazy little people. And so finally I'd had enough of this, and I'd say, in the same tone that I'm using right now, "My name is Bernard Miles, and the first person who tells me my name is going to get $5. And this little guy over here raises his hand and says, "Your name's Bernard Miles." You're absolutely right. I walk to the door. Now, the talking head is not supposed to walk to the door. So people are starting to, what's going on? I pick up my jacket, and the room's getting quieter. I reach in and take out my wallet. I take a $5 bill out of the wallet, and I walk over and I hand it to this young man. Pandemonium ensues. And I very quietly say, "When you're quiet, I will explain why he got $5. When the room quieted down, I said, "Everybody had the same opportunity to get $5. I made the offer to the entire room. He was the only guy paying attention, so he got the money." So again, opportunity is often disguised in many different ways, and it comes very quietly. It's not going to be a Mack truck hitting you.
That's awesome. I could listen to those stories. I love stories. What was the question?
Tell us about your position, but sort of what you do in the run of the day.
Okay, so what I do in the run of a day, each of these lovely people described what they do during the run of the day, and I had this realization that I'm actually doing all of those. So pretty much, Mary Kay head office is a parent company. I am independent, so I'm an entrepreneur. I run my own business, so I'm certainly working on customer and client relation. I'm working on marketing myself, creating my own personal brand. The other thing that I do quite a bit during the day is I manage my own money. I manage everything about it. The lovely accounting course I took here did come into use. It does, just so you know. And then I'm also coaching. So through my business, I become, I'm coaching people to run their own business, to be their best selves, to do things and work outside their comfort zone. So I will say that there's so many facets, certainly, of being an entrepreneur, and one of them is that you're actually wearing multiple hats. How does that day look? Well, since you get to manage your own time and hours when you work for yourself, I certainly work in day parts. So my day starts in the morning. It's usually, I've become an early riser. I never was when I went to university, but if the early bird catches the worm, that's something I was always told. And so I'll be up and at 'em at 6, basically 5:30 this morning, and I'll be done my day by 2:30. If anybody can run that schedule, it's a lovely day to work for yourself. So I will say that being an entrepreneur and being in sales was something that I sat in these seats and always thought that would be really cool. One of the dreams I had was to run my own gym. That didn't matter that I didn't accomplish that, but what I did become as an entrepreneur, and I did sit in the seats of yours and doodle in my books what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I will say that those dreams that you put down on paper might not come to exact fruition of what it is that you write down, but they are an example and a model of where you want to go. My other goal was I wanted to be able to go to the gym and go to yoga any time of the day and have lunch with my girlfriends at any time of the day. I had no clue what that looked like, but for me, it wasn't sitting behind a desk, it was running my own show. So certainly what I do during the day is I'm an entrepreneur at its finest, and one of the biggest things that I work on every day is helping other people build their personal brand and myself building my own personal brand. So what you do now comes to find you in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Smile.
Okay. Well, I had the opportunity to get into sales when I was 10 years old. And I encourage each and every one of you, because I did sit here. I only actually lasted 1 year at Mount St. Vincent. Am I ashamed of it? No, because I've done a lot of things since then. But I had to sort of ask myself, why am I here? What am I doing here? And, maybe you have asked yourself that, maybe you haven't. But once you find your passion, and once you find your gift, your progress will be, huge and exciting. So I started in sales when I was 10 years old. I did newspapers, and I did newspapers right up until I was 18 years old. And I sold the business for $500 after 8 years. And then I went to work for the Chronicle Herald, and I began to tell them the story, and they thought I was totally out of my mind that I did that. But I built a business. I looked at the newspaper business as a business. I started with 22 newspapers, and by the time I was 18, I had 150 customers. And so I put value on that business, and I sold it for $500. Went into the newspaper industry, circulation sales, and then went into the sportswear business. Spent some time in the fitness industry doing sales and marketing for New Bodies fitness centers. And then went on into the auction business, the wholesale car auction that you see out by the airport, where you see acres and acres of cars. So I spent 6 years with Odessa Auctions doing sales, fleet and lease, and general management, and then moved into the promotional products industry because I had the desire to be in business for myself. I really enjoyed the promotional products industry. When I was at Odessa, I purchased all the promotional stuff. That would be staff clothing and uniforms, and then of course the swag to give away to the car dealers. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And so today, I'm the VP of Sales for Fundy Textile and Design. This is our 35th year. And we have 8 salespeople that are under me that are servicing clients throughout Atlantic Canada and beyond. And it's really nice to sit with a client, because not only do I oversee, the sales, but I'm doing research on new product that's coming through. What are the trends? What are people looking for? And meeting on a daily basis as an account manager too, overseeing the marketing for Atlantic Lottery and Blue Cross and Pizza Delight and Day and Ross, Nova Scotia Power. These are companies that you recognize. So I work with those people within those organizations to say, okay, we want to put our brand on something. And it's not just as simple as putting a logo on a hat. You really have to sort of unpack the toolbox and say, okay, why do you want a hat? And what's the purpose of the hat? And so I'm more of a strategic account manager with the client to say, you know what? No, we're not going to do a hat with that brand and your message behind that brand. We're going to do something else. So that's what's exciting about taking a logo, taking it to a product, and then seeing it on the streets. Our industry is actually about a $20 billion industry in North America, and it's exciting. There's more and more products coming every day, and people want to buy swag. They want to give it out. They feel good about their brand. They want people to feel good about their brand, or they're using it or wearing it. So it's exciting. Thank you.
Just a little note, I'm moving things around a little bit because we started a little late, so I'm cherry-picking some of the questions. I know it's confusing. I apologize for that if you've gone through all the questions ahead of time. So you've described what you do, and I'm just going to start here with Mike. And as Mike was at the Mount, he was a Mount student too, just welcoming him back, yes. And can you tell us what you really like about your job, and if there's things that you're not as crazy about your job?
Well, what I dislike about the job is saying no, because we get into timelines sometimes where, people get out of what we call 911 meetings and they say, oh, we need to order this and we need it by Friday. And a lot of times, we can do it, but sometimes we can't. And it's just logistics. We don't have the product in our warehouse, or we don't have, there's only 24 hours in a day, so we just physically can't do it. So that's sort of the disheartening of it. But having said that, we have some great partnerships with our suppliers that can turn around stuff quicker. based on their capacity. What I love about the job is it's different every day. You know, you're meeting with a client, taking a logo to final attrition with a promotional product, or you're just having a conversation about their brand. Companies sometimes every few years will change their brand standards, and they'll come up with a new mission statement, and they'll want to know, okay, based on this new logo, you know, how do we put it out to the street? And so I have, you know, strategized meetings with their team, and I can talk on the promotional side of what type of logo you want on a garment, because there's different applications. There's screen printing, there's embroidery, which is the thread stitches. You know, there's twill letters. The universities are really big, and we do a lot for the universities with the big twill letters. So there's a lot of education that you need to know about our industry in order to sit with a client and talk to them and hear their story and then complete the story. So that's what I like about it. It's different every day, but it's exciting.
Thank you. Nadia.
There's a lot I love about what I do during the day. I think what I love about working with clients most is when I sit across from someone, and it's usually a woman, and I'm sitting across from her, and basically what I do in the run of a day is I teach women how to take care of their skin. I teach them how to apply makeup. I will tell you later, that was not my wheelhouse. I learned all that as I went. I was an athlete my whole life, so wearing mascara was a big day, and wearing mascara and lip gloss was like I was going to the prom. So this was not necessarily my calling by any means, but it was a business that I really enjoyed. And what I enjoyed most was sitting across from a client and making her feel like $1,000,000. And basically what it was listening, building a relationship. And at the end, it was watching her face light up like a Christmas tree that gave me so much joy that's why I continued the business. Most of my team that I work with, so I have, certainly I'm client facing and then I'm team facing. Most of my team that I work with, 98% of them do this business part-time around another job, or they do it around school. So most of my team works 2 to 4 hours a week or 2 to 4 hours a month. I am of the 2% that does this business full-time. So what I'm teaching them to do is most families in particular in Canada need an extra $400 to $700 a month just to make the bills work. And so what my business provides is a side hustle that most women in particular can add income to their families. And what it's done, what I enjoy most is watching women set goals, make a plan, work the plan, and meet their goals. And what those goals sometimes look like are paying for groceries in cash, buying a car and putting a down payment on a home, taking their children to Disney World that they promised them that they would go 5 years ago. Those are the powerful things that I get to be a part of, and that's what drives me every day. Maybe what I don't love the most is I've learned over the years is that unfortunately or fortunately, people have this inner voice to where their first thought is to not believe in their abilities. And so that's something I fight again and again and again to, you know, really bring them up to where they need to be and help build their self-esteem and self-confidence from the bottom up. The other thing I maybe don't like is the paperwork, because that accounting class that I told you about, I was not good at accounting or finance. I will tell you, I passed by I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but I passed by the skin of my teeth. But those are the things that I'm not great at, but when you get into an entrepreneurial position, you surround yourself with people that are great at things that you're not good at. So that's what I bring in to help me, or the things that I'm not great at, I bring in people that are excellent at it. And so I surround myself with the best people that are best at what they do.
I think I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. I'm 33 years at this profession, and I say to folks, I go to the office every day, but I haven't worked a day of my adult life. So what do I dislike about my job, my profession? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There are petty irritances that pop up, and you deal with them and you move on. A very wise woman once said to me, if it's not going to matter in 5 minutes, don't give it any time whatsoever. If it's not going to matter in 5 hours, maybe consider it, but yeah. If it's not going to matter in 5 days, well then maybe take a little bit of time. If it's not going to matter in 5 months, well then you better spend a little more time on it. So I've tried to use that as, you know, do I get worked up about things? And no. What do I love about it? Everything, quite literally everything. I love being able to help Sally buy a car and stop her being grumpy towards me. I love the thrill of finding a great investment. I love seeing our clients succeed. I recently had a great honor. I was invited to the launch of a lobster boat. Now that might not seem like a great honor to you, but when you consider what capital goes into starting a lobster fishery, the boat cost $1.3 million. The license was $800,000. Gear and equipment was another couple $100,000. So we're looking at a little north of $2.5 million just to get started. 20 years old, this young guy is, 20 years old, the age of you folks. And he's signing papers that say, I owe you a couple of $1 million. And I got to be there to watch his new boat go into the water. And when he was thanking people for this great occasion that was happening to him, he mentioned me by name and said, I want to thank Bernard for helping me get to where I am today. By the way, I know absolutely nothing about fishing for lobster. But what I did was the business plan and the financing and getting him to the point where he could have the debt load and be able to manage the debt load to get into this industry. So those are the sorts of things that get me up every morning, get me going. It's never the same thing twice. I absolutely love what I do, and I think, as I said, I am the luckiest guy on the planet because I get to follow my passion each and every day.
What I love about the answers we've heard so far is that you can actually see the work that you're doing every day at your desk, on your computer, and the interactions you're having with others come to life in an impactful sort of way. So whether you're helping someone launch their boat, feel incredible about themselves, pay for their groceries with money, and I would say that that's the biggest joy that I get. You know, we've been collecting survey responses from people who've gone through the mortgage process over the last 12 months. And people are telling us that they are saving money per month because they're now in their own home, and they wouldn't have been able to get there had it not been for this particular product, which helps them if they've been struggling with saving for a down payment. And so you read those stories and you think they came to us because they found out about us and this product because of the efforts that we're making every single day. So being able to see the line between the work you're doing every day and the business, the organization's success is so, so important. It's never a good feeling if you're sitting somewhere and doing work and you don't know the true value of the effort that you're putting in every day. It can be incredibly demotivating. So I can say with 100%, I can see those impacts that I'm not working directly with our customers, but I know that they're there in part because of the work that my team is doing. I would say the thing that I struggle with, and many people struggle with, is that when you have this marketing title focus, people's natural human brains, behaviors, scientifically, they want to put you in a box which fits their perception of what marketing means. And it's a push box. You're going to do the ads and you're going to push things out, you're going to tell people and promote our stuff. And ultimately it's about engagement. So when I started at CUA 3 years ago, I had 1 staff person on my team, and now I have 4 in 3 years. Because if you can change perceptions about what marketing and engagement and communications actually means for an organization, the possibilities really are endless, and it has nothing to do with marketing. It's all about how that comes to life and how you're engaging with other people in meaningful ways. So changing perceptions is the hardest thing anyone in this room, and it's the hardest thing that I'm tasked with doing every day.
I love everything you guys are saying. Well, I work at the Discovery Center, which is a very positive, happy place to hang out. So that is really one of the things I like the best. And so I would sum it up by saying I love the people, whether it's the people on my team and the young people that I've employed that I get to mentor and spend time with, and or it's the people that we attract as our audiences, whether they're folks your age coming to our adult Halloween party, or whether they're a family coming in as a tourist and exploring a new part of Halifax. So, the people are really important. You wouldn't be in marketing if you didn't like people, to a certain extent. But, what we do at the Discovery Center is more than just entertainment. It's about providing a layer of education that kids wouldn't normally get in a classroom, or they wouldn't necessarily, they learn in a different way. So seeing those kids light up as they come through our door as if they're coming to Disney is probably one of the things I love the most. It's important for me to kind of set the time to get out of my desk and go walk around the center and see the product. Similar to what Lindsay's saying, see the fruits of your labor, basically. See the people come through the door that you've managed to engage or attract, and how they're responding to the product that you've built. It's rewarding. As a few others have mentioned, probably one of the other things I like the most is the variety. Every day is different. I could be organizing an event, or responding to a media call, or hiring someone. It really depends on the day, and so that's really nice. And there's really very little I dislike. The industry is very flexible, and it's all in where you want to take it. So as long as you're in charge of your own happiness and you continue to push for what you need, you can pretty much set up a situation that works for you and keeps most days positive and happy.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, we have some idea of your background and, your educational background of what you did. Can you just expand on that a little bit and tell us, basically what was the background that kind of led you to where you are? And if you had it to do over, would you change anything? I'm going to start with Jennifer.
Yeah, so I took the BPR program here at the Mount, which was amazing. And for any of you who are in it, I would say that it provided for just great flexibility. There's lots of routes you can take. And I guess the only thing I would say is once you get on a road, you're on a road, and it's not this road or this road, it's the one you're on. And so just be careful of those first few moves you make, because it's now your road and one thing leads to another. So make sure those moves are always good ones. And I was fortunate enough to start in an agency environment, creative agency, so I was an account manager, similar to what Bernard does in terms of representing his clients. I represented mine, only they were looking for marketing and communication services or advice. And I spent a lot of years in agencies, marketing agencies, media buying agencies, and I had learned a lot. It's a great breeding ground for professional development. And then I went on the education side for a little bit. I worked at a private career college here in town, and then most recently, before the Discovery Center, spent 5 years as the director of marketing for the Chronicle Herald. We all seem to have a Chronicle Herald connection. And that was fantastic as well, because I was part of a great deal of change management. And as you know, the media industry and the newspaper industry is dramatically changing, and they were evolving, and I was part of that transition, which was really great. And now at the Discovery Center. So it's kind of come full circle, and it's great to be back here at the Mount speaking to all of you.
So I was supposed to be a big shot lawyer by now. I took a turn somewhere along the way. So I started out at Acadia University in 2001, and I was a political science and philosophy student, and I graduated in 2005. Over the course of the summer and extracurricular activities, don't ignore those or underestimate the story that they're telling you about where you might find joy in life. Doesn't mean you have to keep going on one path if you're being told something else about the value you bring in another area. Those summer employment opportunities introduced me to communications, media relations, event management. So I ended up moving to the city in 2005. I took the advanced diploma in public relations at NSCC for a year. I thought, it's 1 year of my life. I'll get some great transferable skills. I'll be in a big city. Yeehaw. let's go. I graduated in '06. And I started off, I had some, my very first position, which was really interesting, was in a sign manufacturing company. And I learned a lot about wayfinding. Does anybody here, just show of hands, anybody know what wayfinding is? This is great. Oh, yeah, of course. We're going to become friends after today. So wayfinding is essentially building signage or directions or communications based on the journey that someone else is about to have. So if you think about walking into the Mount or walking into a hospital, as you're approaching a corner, you're not sure where to turn. You should see a sign that makes you feel comfortable, at ease. And so I learned how to see the journey of other people and identify those communicative touch points that they needed to keep them feeling full of trust and full of confidence. And so looking back, that 1 year that I spent there was incredibly formative in terms of the direction that I took. I further went into event management and client relationships in an agency environment that was very niche. And then I came here. I worked at the Mount for almost 6 years in the public affairs, communications, student recruitment space. And I left in 2016 to go into banking. Again, another weird turn. But CUA was facing a very similar brand challenge. We were a small financial institution battling the big giants. The Mount was this magical place where you all know what's special about being a part of something big, but size can matter when it comes to flexibility, personalized service, and that responsivity. And so I felt incredible alignment there. And so that's where I ended up, was at CUA. And my point being, you really need to focus on knowing who you are and where you're going to fit to thrive. The two things I would do very differently in my career, I wouldn't call them regrets, but they're lessons I try and save other people from. I tried when I was younger in job interviews and co-op interviews, in conversations with people in the industry. I became someone else because I was trying to be the professional or the recent graduate that I thought they were looking for. And that's why interviews are very difficult for people, because we're trying to be the one that they're looking for, as opposed to just being ourselves. And that is why a lot of anxiety can happen with interviews, because the minute you try and tell yourself, I've got to not be me, you're saying that you're not good enough. And so that was a really good lesson kind of as I matured and realized, like, I just want to be happy at my job, so I'm just going to do me. And if I don't get it, it's not the right place. The second thing that I've learned that I definitely regretted was I didn't take a grasp on my finances until it was, I was a graduate. I waited way too long because I assumed that you had to make money and have money to matter. And that is not true. So you, as someone you're making an investment in yourself, you already matter. You have incredible potential. So people should be giving you the attention that you want and need. You just need to ask for it. So don't wait and don't struggle with your finances, because there are people who work in financial institutions of all sizes who are definitely willing to help you. That's it from me.
I really am coming off like a Pollyanna here because I have no regrets. I can honestly say that. But I also have been phenomenally fortunate. So maybe instead of talking about what I would do different, because honestly, nothing. I can give you some shortcuts, because there's some milestones in my career that could have been quicker. And the first one is, you don't need to know everything. I felt that I had to have all the answers all the time and be on 100%. And I was absolutely convinced, up until about age 30, that was a turning point for me, that if I didn't know the answer, somehow I was going to spontaneously combust, and that would be the end of it. So it took me to age 30 to be mature enough to say, do you know what? I really don't know. But it's not enough to say, I don't know. You need to follow, and this is very, very important. You need to follow that up with, but I'll find out. Because today it's very easy to get information. And if people are counting on you to provide them with information, then you need to be able to do that. But you don't have to have everything here. This is valuable real estate, so you can't fill it full of garbage. So it is okay to say, I don't know, but know that it must immediately be followed up with, but I'll find out, and follow up. Do that follow up. About 40, I'm giving you decade chunks here. Around 40, I realized that I couldn't do everything myself. And that's when I built my team. And I have the most phenomenal team of people around me. The joke in the office is that it takes a village to raise a Bernard. So I have my village, my team, and this is a phenomenally talented group of people who do the things that I have neither the time, the inclination, or quite honestly, the ability to do. And they are all picked for their skill set to, as a group, we are much greater than any one individual in the group. So build your team, build your network, build the people that you want to have around you, and realize that the synergy that comes from that group is really, really important. Turning 50. So the third piece, and when I turned 50, I realized that it's okay to let go of relationships, of things that really don't matter or that are one-sided. So if you're in a relationship, God bless my mother, I love her to death, and I'm sure some of you have had this experience, but dear, you never call. Well, Mom, the phone works both ways. You can call me too. Oh, but you're too busy. Well, then call me in the evening. But I'll commit to try to call you more frequently, but you need to commit to call me as well. Does she? Hell no. But I can't let go of that relationship. But I have friends that, or I should say people who were friends, that I've just stopped calling. And you know what? It hasn't affected my life negatively whatsoever. And in fact, it's created bandwidth to build more powerful and meaningful relationships. So it's not about the number of likes or friends or connections that you have, but it's the quality of those. So there, I've given you my 3 major milestones over the decades. Now you all will be infinitely more successful than I was by the time you're 25.
Oh, gracious. I love your stories. So my career basically, I will say it started certainly sitting in these seats. I will say the experiences that you have through university and what you choose to do after that, I will say a lot of my choices were strategic. And if I say them in order, they will not make any sense to you whatsoever. However, the choices that I made through university were ones that I thought were getting me where I wanted to go and creating experience and basically resume building opportunities for myself. So don't think that what you're doing during a part-time job or doing to try to fill in the blanks money-wise during your schooling is a lost cause. I will say that co-op was offered just probably my 3rd year. I had missed out on it, nor, to be honest, I probably wasn't interested at the time. I was playing a lot of sports, a lot of basketball here. I will recommend, if you have an opportunity to set yourself up for success by experience, do that through your co-op opportunity, or take a job outside of university that is in something that you enjoy or something you want to know more of, or an experience you'd like to have. I spent a lot of time coaching. I spent a lot of time coaching young children basketball. I spent a lot of time doing summer camps at Mount St. Vincent. I also waitressed at Chinatown down the street. They were all people-facing opportunities for me, and what I learned through that, looking back, maybe not at the time, was that I enjoyed being with people. I enjoyed people and relationship and interaction. Now, after university, I ended up actually managing a dental office down on the waterfront called Bishop's Landing. Completely random. I actually cannot stand the dentist. I hate being in the chair. So if you knew anything about me, you would think that is a very strange move for you to make. However, what I saw in the opportunity was a young man just out of dental school looking to grow his business. And so what did that give the marketing student from Mount St. Vincent? It gave me an opportunity to take the skills that I'd taken out of the classroom and put them to work. He also owned the coffee shop on the opposite corner, and all great people that drink coffee need teeth whitening, and he had just launched the first teeth whitening in the Halifax Regional Municipality, and that gave me an opportunity to combine the two and market the both. So I saw that as a way to kind of get myself in the marketing field. Now, another opportunity I had through university was, have anybody attended a bar in downtown Halifax? Have you ever seen a promo person throwing liquor at you? I was one of those people. For Jägermeister, I wore an orange wig. That was many moons ago. However, what I ended up doing was I ended up managing 50 mostly females that went to all kinds of different bars during World Juniors and all kinds of different liquor commissions during that. So I was in management, I was organizing, I was marketing. I get to hand select the people that I wanted to represent the Maximum brand, and that was Absolute Vodka, Wolf Blass, wine and whatnot. And so back in the day, yes, was that my opportunity to go to the bar and get paid to go? Absolutely, but what it was a marketing opportunity. And that took me to my next job of, I applied as a marketing coordinator for a company that sells coffee and donuts. You probably might know who they are. There's 4,500 of them around Canada. Starts with Tim and with Horton, anybody? Okay, so I did marketing for them for 10 years, and I was their marketing coordinator and had an opportunity to move to Ottawa. And what I got to work on, I was very passionate about community partnership programs, and they were Timbits hockey, Timbits soccer. And if anybody's ever bought a chocolate chip cookie with a smile on it, that was my program for 9 years with North America. All those little opportunities along the way that I told you about in university, and there's many more, got me to that point within the job and gave me the confidence to start to run my own business. So all those little dreams and things I wrote down on index cards of owning my own gym and that sort of thing, all those little steps along the way. So don't take for granted, or yes, I'm just doing this job to get me through. Look for the opportunity that you can find within that to create a resume builder for yourself. I will say I don't have a lot of regrets. I'm with Bernard here, but I cannot for a second say that I didn't fail. And one thing that we talk about in my business a lot is failing forward to success. And we always used to joke in basketball that you could never really appreciate the win unless you've lost first. And so I will say that I've made a lot of mistakes, personally and professionally, not anything detrimental, but just made different pivot points and choices along the way that took me different directions. If I can go back and change one, maybe I would. However, where I am today, all those little pivots and choices I made along the way got me to where I am. I'm about to have my second child, not about, I'm due in a little bit, but it's given me the flexibility to be home. I have a little boy at home, and this business is, and where I am, I thought, I would love to, my mother was always around when I got home from school. She was always around at lunchtime, and it became important to me as I'm about to turn 40 that I wanted to provide that same opportunity for my family. So being an entrepreneur gives me that flexibility. And I will say all my fail forwards to success, I mean, if you want to hear more, I can tell you lots, but all those fail forwards to success have just built my confidence, have grown me as a person, and allowed that you are going to have people in your circle constantly tell you that your big ideas are dumb, they are stupid, you could never do that, but what you've created through all these experiences is the confidence to have those people and those words basically roll off your back. And so what I've learned over the years in my past career, when somebody told me that, oh, no, Nadia, we can't do that, we can't market it like this, we can't sell a cookie like this, I took that cookie program, I'm just gonna say it because nobody ever paid me, but I took it from 900,000 to 9 million. And it's one of those things that those crazy ideas that you have, that you write down, and that those people in your circle say they're not, just keep going with the crazy ideas. You guys had all talked about surrounding yourselves with people that support your dreams and ideas. You are the sum of the 5 people in your circle. Take an inventory. And if those 5 people in your circle don't support your crazy ideas or think that what comes out of your mouth is just a bit different, and they're negative all the time, then you need to do a little deletion. Little inventory and backspace and move them out of your circle, because those are the people that are going to take you to the next level. Actually, a lot of my best and greatest people that are in my life and in my support circle actually came from Mount St. Vincent University, people I went to school with, played basketball with, and I'd say out of the 5 or 6, 4 of them are entrepreneurs and run very successful businesses. One's the director of Film Nova Scotia, and I have a very successful teacher in my realms and a very successful PR person in my realms. So I just want to say, just look at your inventory and think about it a little bit. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Michael?
Who has an iPhone? Probably nearly everybody. Well, I'm excited. Like, I just hearing all the stories and the passion behind everybody's work and you know, why they get up every morning. But, you know, for the ones that are engaged in this panel, I'm telling you, like, you have to capture today as a memory. I'm going to share some stuff with you. I'm going to get a little more personal with you on what made me successful today that school didn't help me with. And I started my second year here at Mount St. Vincent. It was the second week of September. It was a nice, beautiful, sunny day. And I was in accounting class, debits and credits. Yeah, you either have enough or you don't, right? And I just looked out the window and I just said, you know, this is not me. I don't want to do this anymore. I really don't want to do this anymore. My mom and dad were helping to pay for my education. Mostly they were paying for the education. And I was working part-time, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And so there was a gentleman that was in the class with me. His name was Harold. And we were leaving the class, and he said, you know, he had into psychology. I said, no. I said, I'm done. He said, what do you mean you're done? You going for the day? I said, no, I'm done. I'm going to the registrar's office. I said, I'm checking out. I'm cashing in. I'm done. What do you mean you're done? I said, Harold, this is not for me. Really? And you could just, you know, 30 years later, I can still have that image of his face. And he said, man, he said, Mike, he said, geez, he said, I don't know what to say. He said, you know, are you okay? I said, hey, I'm so excited. I said, there's such a big world out there. I said, this is not for me. I said, I tried it. It's just not for me. He said, well, we shook hands and we turned in the hall, and 30 years later, I've never seen him. Never talked to him again. I'm sure he's okay. But one thing that I sort of seeked after was mentors. And I can't tell you enough. If you have part-time jobs, great. Hopefully you have some really good supervisors or employees that maybe can mentor you. I wish I had more mentors when I was younger, but that was one thing that I started to seek out, was mentors, professional mentors, people that could talk to me about, you know, everyday life, maybe how to manage money, how to talk to people. Because here's the power that you guys have, and I'm not trying to guess everybody's ages here on the panel, but we never had this. I never had this 30 years ago. I couldn't capture the moment. I couldn't capture pictures. And, you know, I get so excited and passionate about what I know now, what I didn't have back then. You guys have the tools. And one thing that's really important, and this is what I learned through mentorships, through some of the professional people that I seeked over the years, is that you have to get connected. You have to start to network. You know, we have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I would advise you all to have a LinkedIn profile. That's your professional profile. And you're going to, that's a whole different world. And as you start to, you know, put together your resume or fix your resume and start to go out there and beat the bushes, you need to have a professional image. And you need to talk to some friends. You need to, you know, there's probably people sitting here right beside you, you know, that you know, maybe their parents are connected. Maybe they're in an industry that you like. You want to learn more. Reach out. Talk to them. You got to do sales. How many people like sales? It's the same response I got back when I used to speak. When I started my own business, I had the privilege of coming back to speak with entrepreneurs through the CBDC, because I'd started my own business, did a business plan, marketing plan, got some startup money from CBDC, and of course they wanted, you know, success stories, professional, successful entrepreneurs to come back and tell the story. And that was one of the things that I used to ask the people. I said, you know, how many people like sales? And I'd get maybe, you know, out of a class of 30 or 40, I'd get 1 or 2 hands. And I said, well, you may as well pack up your books and go home. What are you doing? And I'd get this look on their face. They're like, well, who are you? Well, if you're selling a service or a product, you got to talk to people. You got to know sales. You got to have the basic sales. I've encouraged my children to get part-time jobs so they can interact with the people. Again, school didn't give me that knowledge. I got that, you know, basically working the streets and talking to mentors. And that's why I deliver newspapers and I pump gas and I worked as a bouncer in a bar and I was in the car business and I was in the fitness business and now I'm in the swag business. And, you know, all those jobs led to other jobs. And, you know, my network just grew. So, you know, today is, you know, capture the memory and, you know, become an influencer. You know, you don't have to be Kim Kardashian or any of those people that are influencers. Be your own influencer. But you've got to work on your personal brand. And you've got to be very careful of your personal brand. It has to be professional. You know, you can have all the wild pictures on Instagram and all the parties you attended. That's great. But now that you step into the world that we're in, you have to have a professional image. So I encourage you to look at that. And the social media tools that you guys have today, I mean, it's awesome. It really is. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to turn it over to the students. We have about 5-6 minutes for questions. So if you would like to ask a question to any of the panelists, please put up your hand. There's also going to be a draw at some point. So I'm going to leave that with Miriam. But we're going to get started with the questions. So put up your hand if you'd like to ask something of our panelists. Anybody? We'll bring you a microphone. Okay.
Okay, while they're fixing that, I had a key message here that we didn't cover. It was a question that didn't get asked. But if you are not someone who's at all familiar with data, analytics, or spreadsheets, or developing a narrative that tells the story behind the numbers, big skill, definitely will set you apart in an interview, in an entry-level position. I would encourage all of you to consider the value, not just of numbers and data, but being able to tell people what that really means.
Yes.
Would you advise that we go to graduate school before we start working, or right after school we work for a while, then go to graduate school?
Let me take this one. My daughter did her undergrad in the West, and she applied right after her undergrad to go to graduate school and was accepted. And she deferred for a year because all during her life, I've always said to her, follow your passion. Don't worry. Your parents may be really cross at me for this, but don't worry about the money. Follow your passion, and if you are passionate about what you do, the money will follow you. Now, you're not going to be Bill Gates unless you're super passionate about something that half the planet is going to need. But you will be very comfortable, and you will have an amazing life, and I feel that's what I've done. So she deferred for a year to get some experience. And while she was getting that experience, she was following her passion. So the one piece of advice that I gave her that she actually listened to. And then at the end of that year, she had to make a decision. Do I go on to graduate school, which had nothing to do with what she was doing for her work. She's a professional coach. And she decided, no, I'm going to continue coaching. And now in the third year, after graduating from her undergrad, she has been identified by Sport Canada as an Own the Podium coach. And her passion will take her to the Olympics, not as an athlete, but as a coach. And so I'm not saying don't go to grad school. I'm saying follow your passion. And if your passion is grad school, get there. But if it's not, if you're doing it because you're trying to postpone going into the real world, don't waste your money, don't waste your time. Get out there and follow your passion.
Okay. Are you satisfied with your current position, or do you see yourself growing more in the future or having a different life?
No, I'm not satisfied. But I'm learning every day. I mean, I want to do other things, of course, in life, and I think you always have to be, learning, and you're growing. You always have to be, dreaming of other things. Just to speak back on the graduate question, and of course to address you, you got to have some goals in life. Every day you should have a goal. Every week you should have a goal, like whether it's professionally or personally. We probably have a lot of personal goals. We got to take the garbage out today. That's a goal. We got to take the garbage out, right? You got to do this. You got to do that. So goals is very important. But no, I'm not finished yet. I'm excited for what's coming in the future, and always open to new opportunities to grow personally and professionally.
I would say definitely I'm satisfied, but I think if you're in this industry, you kind of never take your foot off the gas. And I've always been very careful about what that next thing is for me, what that title says, because that builds, that's part of your resume, and now it's a launching pad to the next thing. So, I think never be satisfied, always personally and professionally push for something more, but just do it strategically and carefully so that one thing logically builds on another. Not that right turns and left turns aren't a good idea if they make sense, but it's all about that road, right? So just make sure that each step makes sense and that that you as a package are marketable in the end.
I just want to add to that. We've been having some interesting conversations at my organization, and especially amongst our team. And so I echo the sentiments of, pedal to the floor. But imagine if everyone in your organization always had the pedal to the floor. And I think there is value in acknowledging that some people are satisfied to do what they're doing forever. And that's okay. People have different goals, different priorities. I don't have kids. I volunteer. I don't have much of a life. I mean, I don't have any time. I don't sleep very much. But that's what I love. And so you make time for the things that bring you joy. And you just have to acknowledge that not everyone is going to approach their career and their priorities like you do. And that's totally okay. But the most important thing is that you are aware of how you're feeling when you're doing that job, and making sure that you're not keeping yourself there for the wrong reasons.